Hey everyone, our lesson today is on mixed numbers part 3. We are adding mixed numbers with like denominators. This time today though we're going to do some regrouping, and that is sometimes referred to as renaming fractions. And mixed numbers are a combination of a whole number and a fraction. For example, 3 and 4/8 is a mixed numbers, and so is 2 and 5/8. Like denominators means that the bottom number of our fraction is the same because that's called a denominator. Okay, so our steps here is we're going to start by adding our fractions. 4/8 plus 5/8 would be equal to 9/8. And you may want to watch the fractions part 6 lesson if you're a little bit rusty on that. Then we would add our whole numbers, 3 plus 2, and you see that we get 5 and 9/8. 9/8 is called an improper fraction, and we will need to convert an improper fraction, which means that the top number is greater than the bottom, and it means that it's more than one whole. We need to change that into a mixed number, and that's what we mean by, I like to refer to it as regrouping today. So what we're going to do is we're going to use division. We're going to take 9, which is on top, and divide that by the bottom number, which is our denominator, by 8. 9 divided by 8 equals 1. 1 times 8 is 8, and then we must find the difference between 9 and 8, and we subtract, which would be 1. Our remainder must be expressed as a fraction, so I'm going to write that up here, and our denominator would be our 8s. Okay, so we are done with the 9/8, but we still have our 5 here. I'm going to rewrite that right down here. We still have that 5. And now we're adding the 1 and the 1/8. Where do we get that? Well, that was our improper fraction that was greater than 1, and we had to turn that into a mixed number. Now, finally, I just go 5 plus 1 would be 6, and then we have our 1/8. So our answer would be 6 and 1/8. We can show that on our models here. We have our 6 wholes, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these two here, which was originally our two fractions, when we rename and regroup, what we're doing is we are taking, let's just see, I'm just going to say take these 4, right? And I can fit 3 of them right here. So that would be our 1, 2, 3. I'm going to X those out here. And that would now make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholes. And then we would have that 1/6 piece right there. Or excuse me, 1/8 piece right there for our 6 and 1/8. When we add mixed numbers with regrouping, really the key idea is that you need to plan, organize your work, and make plenty of space. That's really half the battle. But we want to add the fractions, add the whole numbers, change our improper fraction to a mixed numbers, which we use division, and then we just add that mixed number again to the original whole number. Okay, 1 3/5 plus 3 4/5. Here's our 1 3/5. And here is our 1, 2, 3, and our 4/5 here. First step is add your fractions. 3/5 plus 4/5 would be 7/5. And 1 plus 3 would be 4. 7/5 is an improper fraction, and it's an improper fraction because the 7 is greater than the 5. So we have to change that to a mixed number. We're going to take our 7, divide by the 5. That would be 1. 1 times 5 would be 5. When we subtract and find our remainder, we get 2. And our remainder we must write as a fraction. And then our denominator is 5, so we get 1 2/5. And that's what we mean by regrouping. We're changing it from an improper fraction into a mixed number. So we no longer have 7/5. We change that into 1 and 2/5. And I'm just going to slide this 4 down that we had before, and really should have written that. Let me do that again. We're going to take our 4 and put our 1, which is from 1 2/5. 4 plus 1 is 5, and then we have our 2/5. So our answer would be 5 and 2/5. How did we get that on our models? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes, and then we have our 2 fractions. What we're doing is we're taking one of these pieces and putting it right over here, right? That would make our 5th whole, and then we've gotten rid of this one, so we've got 2 more, and that would be our 2/5. 4 and 3/6 plus 1 and 3/6. Remember, leave yourself plenty of space. Organize your work. That's really half the battle. We're going to add our fractions, which would be 6/6, and 4 plus 1 would be 5. 6/6 we've called a whole fraction, but it also functions as an improper fraction. And these are a little bit easier because we learned in our whole fraction lesson that anytime you have a whole fraction, it will be equal to 1 whole. So in this case, we don't really have to do any division. We're just going to convert that to 1 whole, which means that that 1 is going to come over here to our whole number side, and 5 plus 1 would be 6. So that would be simply an answer of 6. Let's see how we got that. Our wholes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3 on this side, which we're going to take and join on this side. And that means that's gone. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholes, which is our answer right here. Let's try the last one without any models. 6 and 7/10 plus 3 and 6/10. I'm going to add my fractions first. Remember, leave yourself plenty of space to work. Be organized. Plan your work ahead of time. I like to stack them one on top of the other. Add our fractions. That would be 13/10. And 6 plus 3 is 9. 13/10 is an improper fraction, so we are going to need to regroup that. We're going to take our 13, divide by the 10. 13 divided by 10 would be 1. In other words, 10 will only go into 13 one time. 1 times 10 is 10. We subtract and get a remainder of 3, but that remainder, when we're dealing with fractions, must be expressed as a fraction, and our denominator is tenths. Okay, so now we have our regrouped mixed number. We no longer have our improper fraction. This is going to come over here. The 1 is a whole number, so it's going to be added to the 9. And then we have our 3/10 left over as well. And 9 plus 1 would be 10, and 3/10. So our answer is 10 and 3/10. In review today, our lesson was on adding mixed numbers, this time with like denominators, and regrouping, or also called renaming. We said that it's important to organize your work, add your fractions first, then your whole numbers. When you will need to regroup if you have an improper fraction, which means that your top number is greater than your bottom. You divide to do that. You get a mixed number. You take the mixed number and then add it to your whole for your final answer. Okay, thanks everybody.